Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Claire Lee and I'll be your host for this episode. This week I got to remotely sit down with one of the teachers for our Exceptional Students program here at Lambert to hear about how their year has been going and what adjustments they've been getting used to. We also got a special mention of Duck and how he came to be an essential part of our Lambert culture. So get ready because this is Lambert in Real Time. Hello Lambert Longhorns, my name is Claire Lee and I'll be your host for this episode. Welcome back to the show. To bring a little sunshine into our gloomy days here, I have invited one of the most positive people at our school. Today we have a teacher from our Exceptional Students program, Miss Nicoletti. Hello Miss Nicoletti, how are you doing?
I'm great, Claire. How are you?
I'm doing well today, thank you so much. I'm glad to have you on the podcast to talk a little bit about you and your students.
Okay, awesome.
For the listeners who aren't really familiar with the Exceptional Students program or with you, what are some things that you're involved in at Lambert?
Okay, I am extensively involved with my classroom and my students. I also do the equestrian team. This year, we haven't had a program up and running yet, but depending on, in the new normal. Best Buddies, which is a program that encourages and develops friendships with typical peers, with persons with developmental disabilities. It was originally started in the colleges and then they brought it down to high school. So typically my students that are peer facilitators, when they go off into college, they find that Best Buddies is a big program on their college campuses. So involved in that. And then Duck. Not only has he been an addition to our classroom, Duck is the dog. I'm sure we're going to talk about him. Our black lab that was donated last year has become part of my family and a part of my school family and a part of Lambert. So we do a lot together on the weekend, whether it be hiking or more training together and that kind of thing.
Ms. Nicoletti, you seem like you've been a part of the Exceptional Students program here at Lambert for a while now, and just the field in general. Where did your passion to work in this field begin, and what interested you in education?
My grandparents owned a equestrian horse camp for girls. And when I was growing up, I learned to ride horses out there and was part of the program. But then I became a counselor. I found myself more comfortable in working with people that were having difficulties, whether it was difficulties learning how to groom a horse or to tack a horse or scared of a horse or whatever it was. I kind of naturally fell into, I guess, the teacher mode. After early college, I met someone with a learning disability that was very open about it, and that interested me, and that's how I started getting into it. And yes, I've been teaching special education for 26 years. 25 of those are in Forsyth County, and I've been at Lambert since we opened. Yeah, been doing it for a while. I got my bachelor's in special education, my master's in specifically learning disabilities and behavior disorders, and it's been my passion in various forms of special education, and I've been involved in all of them and enjoyed my job immensely.
I am absolutely blown away from the amount of passion you have in your field and the work you do. Like you said, you've been part of the Longhorn family since the very beginning. So what exactly is your role in this program, and what do you enjoy most about being part of all of this?
Gosh, what I enjoy most is my students. I think any teacher would probably say that. I've been doing this particular classroom, which is a specialized instruction environment for exceptional students. Gosh, I don't even know how long I've been doing it. 8, 9 years. I would really have to get out my fingers. One of the things I love most about my students that we become a family because in this supportive instruction model, I'll often have my students for, 5 years. And we work on vocational skills and social skills and emotional and social expression. And I really get to teach the whole child. Not all teachers are lucky enough that they truly get to focus on the whole aspect of the child. That's one of the things that I've enjoyed most. And Duck has been a wonderful addition to change it up too. Another thing that I really enjoy is the peer facilitator program. Working with typical peers, that's an elective where the typical students come in and work with my students as an elective class. And that increases social interaction and comfort and friendships. It's a beautiful thing on both sides. And I hear that regularly.
The peer facilitator class sounds really intriguing, and it's a great opportunity for people from our school to learn a little bit more about the communities around them and not just the ones that are close to us. It's so cool that we can take it at Lambert.
You take it as an elective class. Now you have to fill out an application
Mhm.
and get an interview and that kind of thing. But yes, it's an elective.
An infamous member at our school who's still fairly new is Duck. As you mentioned earlier, Duck is one of the therapy dogs here at Lambert, and you have him in your class. How did you get to meet him, and how has it been so far working with him in your class?
Last year, it was probably around a little before November, one of my dogs that I was very close with passed away, and I was devastated. I had always, for the past couple of years, wanted to venture into the therapy dog. There's a lot of research that supports how it's good for one, the human being overall, but to directly address anxiety, difficulty with expressing emotions, increasing reading and overall academic performance and understanding, and so forth. I had always been interested. And I went to administration and said, look, I'm thinking about a therapy dog. Could we do this? And Dr. Davison gave the thumbs up. I like the idea. Dr. Johnessy mentioned that why don't you call Scott Recker of Recker Dog Training? So I did. Long story short, we played phone tag. He called me back and he had a dog that had, he failed out of duck school actually. He wouldn't hold the duck in his mouth. He was terrible at it. All he wanted was to get attention from the handler. Scott donated him to us, but it turned out to be bigger than that. Lambert just fell in love with him, as you can tell. I mean, it kind of took off as Lambert's therapy dog, and he's been a huge hit since. It's really funny to watch him go down the hallway and hear people, Doc, 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 Doc. It's like a movie star. We had to do a lot of training together, and good citizenship done very well. And now he fetches like a machine. I mean, it's unbelievable. I was like, he just needed a mama. He needed a job. So he's got lots of love now. So now he's good with fetching.
Duck is definitely loved at our school and very much appreciated as one of our therapy dogs. I can't wait to talk a little bit more about Duck, you, and your students, and the second part of the podcast. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome to the Brig part of the podcast. I'm just here to let you know that this is a very special episode of Lambert in Real Time because this is our first mini-series. This is the first episode of 2 that we're going to talk about the Exceptional Students Program and the therapy dogs. So the second episode is going to be with Dr. Jenna C. and how she managed to get the therapy dogs here at Lambert. I hope you stay tuned for the rest of this episode and the upcoming one with therapy dogs. Now let's go back to the episode. Welcome back to the episode. We're going to talk about how the teachers and students within the Exceptional Students Program have been getting along with the new changes in social distancing, along with how Duck has been helping out within some stressful times. Ms. Nicoletti, since you've been part of this program for quite some time now, what are some major differences that you noticed within the school or classroom environment this year as a teacher? Were there any new adaptations in relation to social distancing, or any changes that you guys had to make in your classroom setting?
One of the things I think we've all noticed is social distancing and having our faces covered, and how important it is to see our smiles and see our whole face and be able to read facial expressions and feed off each other. So I think that's one of the things that I've noticed kind of across the board, that's hard for my students. When I'm teaching, I try to, with the social distancing, but I'll put a shield on and teach towards the front of the classroom where we've got the space so they can see my facial expression. It's so important. The social distancing, we're doing a great job. We're keeping each other safe. Everybody's working very hard to stay happy. But I think we do need to keep in mind that it affects us. We don't get to hang out in the hall and chit chat like my kids used to hang out in the hallway with Duck and then go on. And that's part of high school. But one of the things that I think we did discover through this is how critical the face-to-face interaction is for all of us as human beings. Those are some of the things that I've noticed that have been challenging from an educator's point of view.
Yeah, I totally agree. Not being able to physically sit in a class for half of the school day is kind of strange for me, and not being able to see the teacher and relate with the teacher. Just like some of us who have fun activities outside of school, some cool things that you guys are able to do are out-school events like going to Barnes & Noble. Now, since that really isn't an option, what are some new plans the program has created to supplement for that?
Well, we're living and learning. We're continue to address the new normal because this is new for us. But the school is doing a great job of, we're going to come up with things that we can do inside the building, perhaps working in the school store, perhaps working with the culinary arts program, doing the mail room, delivering the mail, that kind of stuff. Lambert is a little city, so we will come up with some community-based things here that we can do that teach vocational skills and increase social interaction, but yet following the rules that we need to do to keep us safe. And then maybe soon, maybe we'll get to go out a little bit. We'll see. Take one thing at a time.
Yeah, hopefully soon in the future, when everything calms down a little bit, we can venture out into things that we used to be able to do before. But for now, we're going to have to stick to the guidelines. With all these new changes, there's a very special member of your crew that has been right alongside you for support. And just like you mentioned, Doug is a very special member of our Lambert Longhorn community. How do you think Doug has helped your students and our community here at Lambert getting adjusted to all these changes?
He has provided a normalcy. For most part, people really like dogs. They do provide some sort of peace. He's provided a talking point for my kids. They love to introduce him to other people. Have you met our therapy dog, Duck? So it increases the social interaction that way. I think they're very proud of him. He's provided a positive distraction as well. It's not all just go, go, go with academics. He removes some fear. He gives some calm. He gives some peace. Even if he's curled up on his bed snoring while we're working on our novel and talking together, there's something comforting about that. He provides a lot. It's quite amazing. He is my work partner. He provides a lot for the staff too. You'd be surprised how often the staff might stop by to go, hey, can I see Duck? Or they'll just, Duck. He's added a lot. He's added a lot. He's a good part of the program. Near my room are some other special education classrooms, and he goes and checks on those kids, and they've learned to love him and pet him gently and talk to him and as well, and throw the ball and learning how to throw a frisbee and going outside to take a mask break and get some fresh air and sunshine. That is good for the soul. And Duck helps that. One of the things that's changed a little bit is I carry around some hand sanitizer, so a bottle of it, so that when people out and about, I usually, hey, put some hand sanitizer on before you pet him. That's something that's changed that would have never happened before. But in essence, to protect, that's something that we thought, would help. That's been a new component of safety that we've added on for him. And then again, we don't get to stand out in the hallway regularly, because he literally would lay out in the middle of the hallway and everybody would touch him and say, hey, and stuff. So, but, we'll get back to that one day.
I think all of us are looking forward to that one day where we can all just go back to normal and not worry about, being cautious for others and ourselves. But for now, I'm glad that Duck is helping your students and people at Lambert stay happy and look in a positive light where we can look forward to having a better day. Well, that's all for this episode. Thank you so much, Miss Nicoletti, for coming on the show and telling us what's been going on with your students and Duck. For anyone who wants to keep up with Duck or your students, where can they find that information?
It's Duck the Dog, LHS on Facebook, and it is Duck Days. You can follow them on Instagram. For us, we're on the 1800 hallway. You're welcome to stop by and say hey. We're a very friendly crew. I'm in room 1818 if anybody ever wants to. And then there's the peer facilitation class that you can look into for perhaps next year.
So if any of you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about Duck, meeting Duck, make sure to go check them out on Instagram and Facebook, and maybe even drop by their classroom. And I think being a peer facilitator sounds pretty cool. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure to go check out probably the Lambert website or just get in contact with someone in the program. Thank you so much, Miss Nicoletti, again for coming on the show. And if you guys are interested in listening to more episodes of Lambert in Real Time, you guys check us out on Lambert in Real Time on any platform where you can find podcasts. And if you're interested in keeping up with some on the daily, you can check out our Instagram at LHS Real Time. Thank you so much for listening. Stay safe and hook 'em.
Hook 'em.